No, it's not you, it's me. I just gotta talk low. I have you right at the right volume.
It's like, for whatever happens, no one ring the doorbell.
Yes, please, or else the chihuahuas will bark in it. She'll wake up crying, and then, oh boy.
Yeah,
Then
and
it's
it's all
heck
done.
isn't worth trying to get her to calm down. She's almost 2.
Oh, it's that time. Oh, good times.
Yeah, April 23rd is her birthday.
Well, happy early birthday.
She's asleep in her little toddler bed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Digital Animation 1. I am your instructor, Michelle Rudolph, like the reindeer, and what we're going to spend the next 4 weeks doing is learning about an application in Adobe called Animate. It used to be Flash, so if you've ever worked in Flash, good news is the name's changed. Not so much has changed about the actual application. They've added some new features. And yet no one can spell my last name still. That's always the kicker when I go to doctor offices. They just sort of look at me. I'm like, no. And going back to the course, sorry, learn the ins and outs about how to make a basic animation. In week 1, we're going to jump right on in with the assessment of doing a little animation where we'll have a character that kind of moves across the screen. If you happen to have a tablet, not as an iPad, but a tablet that you can use a stylus on to draw, that's great. It'll make life a little bit easier, but for this course, we're going to keep it simple, so the mouse is perfectly fine as well. Yeah, for our creature in the week 1 assessment, spoiler alert, it is going to be something that flies, or at least has wings. So keep that in mind. Yep, that is a smart idea. And first things first, I always start the course, as in each lecture, by going over the daily checkpoint for the week. On Wednesday, I will go through Wednesday through Sunday, so that way you're able to get all of those answers. Obviously, you do want to go over the videos or any components that are also included. I'll go over articles, talk a little bit about it, but the videos will be up to you to watch. So looking at the first one, as in Monday's daily checkpoint, apparently for some weird reason it's been left idle for 8 hours, maybe not. Oh, that's how much time is left. That's a new feature. And that can't be right. I guess it is. Oh, that's a new one. Anyways, so what we're going to be doing for the assignment, which we'll talk about later, is we're going to do an advertisement, an animated advertisement, and we're going to have to use a storyboard. So a lot of the first components really kind of focus on what the heck is a storyboard? You know, why is it important? Why do we have to use it? All that good stuff. And there's an article that links right here to storyboards, and it kind of goes over, and I'll share this link as well in the chat for anyone watching the recording. And, you know, a storyboard really kind of just provides a sketch, a quick walkthrough of what is happening. All Disney movies and even really big movies usually have a storyboard before they film, because how else are you going to get people to, as in people, executive managers, the people who have the money, to sign off and approve it? So no matter where you go, you are not going to escape the storyboard. Now, there are a few hoity-toity film directors. Herzog is a great example, who thinks storyboards are horrible, but he's also a very unique character. And he kind of runs his own ship and has for quite a while, so he gets away with it. The rest of us, not so much. So if one day you run your own company and have billions of dollars, you can do as you wish. Till then, storyboards it is. And you can see right here, it's just kind of walking through. Sometimes there'll be text explaining what's happening, how you make one. There's a million ways to make one. They're really just cells, which are those squares that you see right here, on a piece of paper. They can get really elaborate. I know if you watched the movie Twilight, I know I'm a horrible person for mentioning that, but in the behind the scenes or the executive outtakes, there is a whole storyboard that shows the whole film basically, and they almost have like a flip book, and that's a really cool feature to see. It also really helps actors kind of see, what's coming next, to just give people a visualization. Here are some of the storyboard languages. We won't go into too much detail about that because it won't matter so much. It's just important to make sure that you know if it's a pan, if it's going to be a sweeping movement from one point to another in the scene, if it's going to be a close-up, if it's going to be a fade to black, if it's going to be a tilt or a zoom. And you can see kind of here the details that are involved. We're mainly going to, in this course, focus on the visual and not so much the additional text details. You will in future courses though. It's just another way to help communicate to people what is happening in that given scene. And stick figures are perfectly fine. Again, I'm going to use Twilight, sorry. They do show emotion. These not so much, and that's fine. This is, just a rough storyboard. But, depending on where you're going, they do show more emotion and more animation, not as in terms of animation itself, but animation in terms of the range of motions that the person's going through. This one is obviously a lot more detailed. And you can definitely see that the emotions are being shown, and these aren't stick figures. If you happen to be a great illustrator, you could get a job as a storyboard artist. That's great. We can talk about that. Yeah, that would be great for pet adoption. It would just be figuring out how you want to keep the animation simple, but have a background and some characters that move around, but not too many because there's only 4 weeks. So that in a nutshell is storyboards. Now we could talk about that for an hour, but we would all cry. So long story short, plus there are resources for storyboards in your readings this week, so I'll spare you there. It's asking, what advantages do storyboards do for us to create our animated advertisements? And again, if you're like, what do you mean animated advertisement? We'll talk about that in probably 20 minutes. Probably more like 40. Anyways, select all that apply. You can show changes to your storyboard before you start animating. Yes, that's one of the biggest things. Again, it's good to write out and sketch your ideas before you start to animate. As you watch some of the animate, as in the Flash, Adobe application, you'll see that even the artists have all of their basic components sketched out, and then they basically draw over them within Animate. It's always best, just like with a website, to start with wireframes, go through the approval process with that, and then get to design. Design always comes last, unfortunately, but we have to make sure that the client approves of what we do before we have fun, because obviously the design components obviously take more time, and time is money and all that good stuff. No worries, and that sounds like a great idea. Show your storyboard to get feedback from a client, obviously, because we want to be able to show our client before we start animating. And people take storyboards differently depending on who the client is. Some of them are really into them, others not so much, and you kind of have to push why these are important. Draw storyboards in the medium you're most comfortable using. That is also true because you can hand sketch them, you can use Illustrator, you can use your stylus pen and your tablet. There are a bunch of ways to do storyboards. Your drawings don't have to be fancy. It's correct, but some of them, again, I'm going to go toward, high-end movies. The initial, or even Disney, like the initial Disney ones are really rough, but then they have like a high def wireframe that's in color and more sorted out because executives still need to see that big picture. Toy Story is a really good example. And you can show movement with arrows. That is correct. You can kind of point them where they're going to go, what they're going to do. You can also use the terminology as well, such as, it's going to pan, or if I want to point to a certain direction to help cue the user in, I could as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit quiz. And I got them all right. One of the few where all the answers are going to be correct. Don't expect that for every multiple selection. If I now we'll go to the syllabus in a few, but let's go ahead and check out the announcements. In the announcements, I will make any note about, hey, welcome to week, fill in the blank, 1 is this week. I will also reference the recordings for the live lectures, and I'll always put a bullet point of what was covered. Technically, you're supposed to watch the whole recording, but I know everyone's super duper busy, so you can kind of scan through and find the components that you need. And the tutoring. Each week there is a tutor. Wanda is available for this course, and she is available these times. Now, you can always go into the tutoring center at other times that they are available. And chances are, because it's Animate, there might be another tutor that can help out as well. It's a more unique application, but there's that possibility that someone else might be able to help you. And of course, I'm available as well. And of course, these hours will change each week, so just keep an eye out for that. Oh, there's nothing to be scared of in this course. When you do web design, you can be scared. That course is a lot harder. This course, I'm trying to compare it. Keep things simple, and you might not be super happy with the end result if it's just, we'll just say like a ladybug. We can use a circle, and then we can add some wings. It might not be an amazing portfolio piece, but there is another animation course that you will take, and it's only 4 weeks. If my classes, when I was learning, were only 4 weeks, oh my gosh, it would be a ball that maybe bounces across the stage, and that's it. So I'm always envious that you guys are able to accomplish so much in 4 weeks when it took me, 16 plus weeks and multiple courses to really kind of get it. Let's go to the syllabus. And of course, this is introducing us to the basics of animation skills. Here are the, some basic tools and topics will be covered. Here are the course objectives. Now, one of the biggest things I want to point out is the expected amount of time in this class, because this kind of makes or breaks, I don't think how successful you are, but how well you understand the application and what you're able to accomplish. You'll see in class is about 9 hours between the discussions, live lectures, a little bit of the assessment, daily checkpoints, and then 16 hours to work on the assignment, discussions, the readings. For the assessment, there is a standalone tutorial that you'll need to watch before you complete it. And of course, that adds in a little bit of time right there. And 16 hours, you know, it's a hit or miss depending on how quickly you're able to grasp the material and move on. Hopefully the live lecture helps, you know, a lot with that. We shall see. Here's everything we're going to go into for week 1. We'll talk about these outline components when we get to each of the activities. And of course, you'll see kind of how everything's broken down. And how you'll be graded each week. So you'll see discussions are super duper important. We'll get to them shortly. Please make sure you do them. The good old pluses and minus systems always makes me cry. Course information, of course, can be found here. Information about me can be found here. All the live lectures and recordings will be here. I will also include them again within the course announcements, and I will send them via email. Breakdown of when the lecture is and the different time zones that it happens in. Here's obviously the link. And since we meet 3 times a week, there will be 3 different links. Hopefully this works. I find most people like meeting 3 times instead of 2, simply to give yourself a little break and kind of chunk things up in a little bit more time. The computer help is an important link. If something goes wrong with your computer, please, please, please let me know right away. Let your AD know. That way things can get worked on. Don't come to me on Friday of week 4 and say, oh, my computer's been broken for the past 3 weeks. No, that's not going to work out very well. These classes are expensive, so please, please, please keep an eye on things. The Student Success Center is, of course, where you can log in to access support. And of course, it's going to act up, and I'll probably need to do it outside of it right here to the external link. That one didn't work. Interesting. Like it's trying. Then for week 1, because these are all additional resources that can help you. Of course, media we'll talk about shortly. So for week 1, it's about defining the project that you're going to do and work on storyboarding. Obviously, for the discussion is where you're kind of going to define digital animation. Then you'll work on like a story concept for your animation piece. And then you'll start to work on the basics within Adobe Animate for the assessment. There is an introduce yourself topic, so feel free to say hello. Then jumping to week 1's readings and tools, you'll see that here is a breakdown of what you'll need to review this week. The additional resources, the Animate CC help or download the PDF is a great, like tool document that kind of just goes over Animate in great detail, really. For this one, it kind of goes over how to create a storyboard, learn why storyboards are important, all that good stuff. It is a different link than this one. Just wanted to point that out. We will talk about this in a little bit. Here is some of the new changes that have been made. And of course, this is how to animate a basic character, which we'll probably start to dive into halfway through tomorrow's lecture. So jumping to week one's discussion. The good news is, everyone's already starting to be active, so thank you for that. And the discussion topic looks at what is digital animation. And as we know, digital animation has been used for quite a while, but it continues to evolve. Like movies like Zootopia, for example, or anything Disney does because they've got, most of the money, is amazing. Basically, Disney has billions of dollars. They can create their own engines to do whatever they want to do. And just like a couple of really other well-known directors, such as the movie Avatar, they are simply waiting on technology to catch up. They've got all the money in the world, but they don't have the technology, the computer components, the speed, the ability, the capabilities to do what they want to do yet. But it's coming, each year things are changing. Not so much more with our phones. It seems to be, okay, they're shatterproof. You can drop them in the toilet. You can go swimming with them to a certain extent. Don't do that for the love of God. But we can do a lot. I mean, basically, Samsung's new phone is, the infinity type screen. That's where they're kind of at. And God help you if you figure out a way to break that. So what's important is that we understand digital animation is not video commercials. Those are different. Animation we're going to be looking at in this course is going to be like Frozen and Zootopia, and I know Disney's come out with so many more, Moana. That's what we're looking at. And while we will not be making awesome characters like that, no one does starting out, and until you work for a big company, don't worry about it. You're just not going to have that. But what we're going to focus on is how we as graphic designers are already are able to apply what we already know and be successful as animators, at least initially. While we might not know the technology components of how to create a character, there are different features and best practices that we are aware of. That's awesome. And what we're going to do is just sort of discuss, the things that are needed or should be considered to make a good user experience and the best practices for designing a good user interface when creating these animations. Write a summary of your findings and be sure to cite your sources. Here is some resources right here. Obviously, Google is also going to be very helpful. And then for the second part, and this kind of gets confusing. So this is like your initial part, is to discuss the role graphic designers and as digital animators play, and what needs to be considered for good UI and user experience. We'll talk about that then. So the initial discussion post needs to be 150 words. How you want to split it up, like 75 and close to 75, is fine. For the second part, you will need to find one example that you think is really effective digital animation advertising. In your own words, explain why. Reference to the research you did in your first part. You might want to do the second part first. That might make life easy on you. And it looks like Princess, did you include the second part? I'm just trying to see if they're, because I guess you're supposed to include a link to the resource as well for a good digital animation advertisement. Because these are all great examples of animation, but it's not specifying something within digital, like a digital advertisement example. And basically what the discussion is trying to do is get you thinking about your assignment. So what I would recommend doing is, I don't want to say effective digital animation advertising, but I might throw that keyword in there. And simply go to Google. You might want to put 2016 or 17, just so that you're able to get something that's a little bit more updated. Here is creative online banners. We can look at them. And I was hoping they'd have a date here. Okay, I don't want to know what that is. We're just going to move forward. Sorry. Like a rabbit, this is a good one. It's a Volkswagen. It's also kind of creepy. A lot of these are creepy, so I'm not sure why they say these are the best ones. And I do not want that to open like that, but I guess it's trying to just open the Swift. So they're letting you be snarky. Right on the line to play with a rabbit. I can't write on the, there we go. And of course you can submit it and breed your own rabbit. I think you can create your own vehicle. Obviously there's going to be an issue because it's not going to go anywhere. So hoping to see, it's just a dated ad, so it wasn't super duper helpful. Places to look, and we'll talk about this down the road, is local places to see what they're kind of doing. Here's your keyboard, call for assistance. Gatorade commercial. Buckle up, and this is Nissan. That's an interesting one. Drive Less Ordinary. This is kind of cool. It's one of those old school type games where you kind of connect the road. Let's see if I can bring it on up. And obviously that's not right. So, you know, it's one of those fun things where you keep clicking until you can eventually get. Oh, that might actually work. Oh, and I guess this is the countdown right here. So bad news, vehicle. You're not going to get as far as I was hoping for. You almost made it. Yeah, that's a bunch of hooey. I obviously would stress against like such a short click time. Maybe I'm just old. And then of course you can see that they also then have the discover your new Golf. So that way you can check out the new vehicle. The advertisement itself, I mean, they're just playing with you creating the road, so you're making a drive less ordinary. It would have been cool though to see the vehicle at least start and just sort of stop right there. Trying to, you know, make it a little bit more rewarding per se for the user. So that one might be the one that I use for the discussion. I was hoping just to open this in a new link. That might not be possible, so I'll just come back to that. It's a clock, you know, for face reverse time. Yeah, I don't know if they're actually showing anything other than that. I mean, it's interesting. Car advertisements are obviously notorious for doing these sorts of advertisements. They have the money to. I guess you can flush the toilet and maybe they play. Apparently the Terminator had a little bit of animation. Things you can do with the Whopper or the Quarter Pounder. You can add ingredients. That could be a cool one, and that could be something that you might want to consider. I'll play that one for your assignment. That could be a fun one. And unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to show it to us. That's too bad. Interesting. IKEA is notorious for animation. Interesting. Interesting. These are really the best ones. Adidas has another one. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I will discuss this one. This one's decent. And how I would talk about it is that, and I'd probably use this one to help discuss my UI as well. And I could just say that, let me grab Notepad so I can type. Yeah, I could say, in this week's discussion, I found the new Golf from Volkswagen. I would then probably just hyperlink the new Golf, blah, 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 from Volkswagen. That's where I'd include the hyperlink to this page or to this direct piece if I can. I'm pretty sure that one worked. And it was for Australia. So we also have to kind of keep that in mind. Fortunately, there's no real date that I'm able to find. So that's too bad. So I can go ahead and just copy and paste that. And spelling's amazing. Copy and paste that. just highlight that text, add URL, and then I can just add that URL directly there, just in case that's new to you. And then I just need to explain why. I need to talk about, you know, good contrasting colors. Everything's very easy to see. Oh yeah, I said no to opening it. Oh no, it's right here. Nope, it's a different one. GIFs are fine too, because those technically are animated. Now, whether or not they're going to be the greatest is going to be another question, but that's fine. Depends, because they're making fun of it, but is it an advertisement to get them to watch something on Netflix, or is it more just like a meme? As in downloading something on Netflix? Yeah, that's fine then, because that's a new feature that Netflix has to watch later type thing. So I'd say, you know, there's good color contrast here. It's very easy to read. It, you know, ideally you kind of know, and I'll check that out in just a second. You kind of know what you should do if you've ever played this type of game. If you haven't, then that kind of also shows that, you know, maybe they're not catering to your age group. I somewhat remember these, never played them digitally, or maybe I did. That they're always on like cards or something. Anyways, you know, they kind of give you some information on how to link up the road. And oh God, now I'm clicking on things again. Let me go ahead and open that. So I stopped clicking on things randomly. And once you click on, you can see that the arrow's pointing. So that's kind of letting you know that it's the start point, more or less. And once you click on that, the time goes down. So it's very easy to read, you know, clear instructions. I could include all of that in the discussion. Now these are more like snippets in terms of just random thoughts, and I really kind of need to stitch these sentences together better, which I'm not just for the sake of time, but I just want to be able to show you some of the ideas that I'm thinking of. Clearly, based off the advertisement you do, it could be a little different, should be a little different. I'd say that, you know, in this advertisement, even though it's a game trying to connect the road, you know, they're really focusing on this new vehicle is a drive less ordinary. I don't care what vehicle you're in. If you're in a big city, you just kind of want to get through the day and hope no one kills you. Maybe that's just me. So I'll say like Volkswagen is showing through this game that the user is interactive with, engaged with, that this vehicle, this car, whatever you want to say, will create, you know, this experience that is, you know, out of this world or something like that. If you want that, step into a Tesla because it'll drive itself. That to me is out of this world. But that's just me. That with this car will give the user, viewer, whatever you want to say, a unique experience that is, you know, experience, drive, whatever you want to say, because we're connecting that road. Experience a unique adventure, journey, drive, commute that other vehicles won't have. But let's face it, it's just, you know, pretty words, but they're at least connecting those pretty words with some sort of animation that you could incorporate. the journey or road the user creates. I'd also say for the user experience, you know, there's also a counter, so that way they're trying to motivate you. You can also lead in how this is a successful advertisement to complete part 2. You could say that so I'm just talking about how after you try for 30 seconds, because, you know, attention span is really short. So they're hoping that they probably did a lot of beta testing with their audience to see how long they're willing to play this game. Obviously, it's sort of a one-time trick pony, which most web banners are. Get them in once, hope they want to click. I'm wondering, and this isn't going to be the best example, looks like their logo, not sure because nothing's really hyperlinked and I can't see the code. And if I click on the banner, it's just going to go here. Because normally really well animation will allow you to kind of like click on the logo, just like a website would, and it would take you to their home page, because you don't want people having to wait. What is this one? Oh, you can start down here, it looks like. Okay. I don't know where that's supposed to go. And, you know, unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's like, I guess, oh, because I think you're supposed to turn it around maybe, and then here it comes out. It would be cool, again, just to see the vehicle move around. And it looks like, so you can try again right here. I have no idea where I'm going with this. Maybe something like that. Okay, so now I did it. Yay! And that's what it shows you if you finish it. Okay. Be nice if they gave you a big old discount or something, but, you know. Unfortunately, that's all you see. I mean, it'd be good to see some more text here or something, and then you can click on this link, and this link normally would then take you to the web page. And of course, here they're kind of showing it to you. You know, what is, you know, truly effective about this piece? You know, it's engaging. I mean, it's fun to play. It makes you, because, you know, humans by nature are competitive and curious, and they want to be able to, you know, see the end results. And, you know, the wow factor was, or the yay factor was, getting the vehicle to drive down the road. So it kept me playing it long enough to make that happen. And while it would be great if people wanted to go and buy the new golf car because of this, chances are they're not, but they might go ahead and look at the main Volkswagen website and they might see a vehicle that they do like there. Or they might at least just talk to their friends about, hey, this is fun for, you know, a minute of your life type thing. And obviously what you'll probably want to do is also Google effective, you know, digital animation, advertising, components, features, best practices for effective digital animation, because we'll probably want to cite something in here about, you know, confirming, you know, that clear instructions are important, or a link that goes to the product is important. You know, making sure people know from the moment go who you are, what you're representing, and what you're offering. Let me know if anyone happens to have any questions about the discussion topic. If you didn't cover the second part, no worries. I'll probably make a little post tonight going through them and just reminding everyone. And I can just do that right now because I know Joshua didn't, and just go, hey, you know, please make sure. And what you can do, and the reason I'm doing this is because I can hit post, and you'll see that there is an ability, you should have the ability to edit, and you can just go ahead and edit and add that part. No need to make another reply. And I have to wonder, do you think this was an original Netflix animation, or was it someone else that created this to make fun of Netflix? Okay, so that's going to be kind of a gray zone area. I'm okay with you using that, Princess, as long as you kind of indicate it, but then you'll want to make sure that you kind of stick with stuff that the companies themselves are doing. But this is fine for the time being. Ignoring our customers. Good times. Jumping on to, and of course, make your initial discussion post by Wednesday night, 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. Let me go back real fast. Everyone's been doing a really great job with your full APA citations. What I don't want to see is just the URL and not citing first name, last name, dates, all that good stuff. So whatever you do, you know, please just don't do, I'm not sure why I can't see anything here, but that's fine. Probably because I hit reply. Don't do that. You won't get full points for your citation for doing that. It needs to have everything. Then for your 2 response posts, I don't mind if you do them both on the same day. Make sure that they are both 50 words, that they provide feedback, like maybe you can look at the effective animation that they selected and talk about what you liked about it, what you agree, what you disagree about, your experience. Those are great ways to get 50 words in. please don't say, hey man, that was great, I agree, this is awesome, hashtag awesome. Try to make it, probing and encourage others to engage as well. As long as you make your discussion post by Saturday night, 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time, you are good. Now, jumping to the assignment. What we are going to do in this class over the next 4 weeks is create an advertisement, an animated advertisement. And what you will do is choose a company that you would like to do your animated advertisement for. This is a self-promotional ad for themselves, not an ad banner on another website. What that means is these horrible ones, this is not what we're doing. It can be a new product release, a service that they want to promote, or something that is fun and entertaining and will capture the audience's attention and promote sales. Obviously, sales consists of why we're here. They want to sell something, they want to grab people's attention. They recommend that a real company is used instead of a fake one. I'm sorry, she woke up. Morgan's her name? Ah. Well, hopefully she's not in tears 2 minutes later. Hopefully it was a decent amount of a nap though, and wasn't just like 20 minutes and I'm ready to go. I would stress using a local company. You're going to see a lot more advertisements that way. We'll look at some big names as well, because why not? And you might, be able to find something. For example, if anyone, plays video games, I know World of Warcraft recently had a new patch, which has mixed feelings, but yeah, because I know flying's back in the game, something that's been around since 2008. But hey, there you go. Here are some of the recommendations, nursery, doctor, dentist, food business, animal adoption. Obviously animals are always a lot of fun. Animals are hard to animate though. Keep that in mind. It could be like maybe you create a little kitten that maybe rolls, or a bunny that hops with like some sort of toy. That could be an option. I know Easter's already passed, but you could still incorporate that. That's fine. Granted, though, everyone, media-wise seems to frown on don't advertise, rabbits because they're not the best to pet, but that's perfectly fine in this class. Yes, Sandy, sorry. That would be perfect, because I think that's what I'm going to be doing. For mine is like a coffee shop and maybe just showing 1 or 2 different beverages and how they're made. That would be a good start, Princess, but as we progress, and we'll go through the whole assignment, because you have to know that information in order to fully assess, what you have to do. So I'm going to stop right here in terms of here are the possible ideas, and I'm going to go through each of the other assignments so that way I'm not going to go over the full details, but just basically in 100 words or less, 150, we'll make it Twitter size, what to expect. So this week, in week 2, we are going to draw our characters. And that's all it's saying. So we get to draw our characters and do. Okay. I was hoping for like specifications of how many, but keep it simple then. And I'm going to go to the assessments though, because I'm pretty sure in week 2 we're building off. So for the assessment, we're actually just building off of a tutorial again, so it's not like our assignment. Jumping to week 3 is where we animate the project. And now that we have the background and we have our 2-dimensional characters ready to go, we are going to animate them. And that's it. And let's look at week 4. Yep, so it's rather vague. And the rubric is rather vague as well. So you could have the puppies and cats as a static component, but I would recommend, like maybe eyes blinking, some sort of feature, and maybe it's the ball, like maybe someone's throwing a ball or something, and that's what moves across the screen. And like the animals are shifting their eyes. That would be perfectly fine. Yep, or winking. Yep, and that'd be perfectly fine as well. Yep. And then it would just be up to you to determine what kind of text you wanted to use to best convey what the message was. Yep, for good high contrast. And one of the big things, so if someone else wanted to do something related to animals, you could check out your local humane societies. Depending on where you lived, it's going to, really determine whether or not there are options. You could also look at animated advertisements for animals. That might help. Best Friends is huge. And I'll just go directly to their site. A lot of people are avoiding animation though on websites nowadays simply because of all the different tablets and devices. Instead, they're using these sliders like this. So unfortunately, these aren't super duper helpful, but you might see an ad that kind of inspires you. Like this text here you might want to try to think of, how could I use this in a good way? Let's see. Sorry, everyone don't rush out to get an animal now. And it's just an image. Actually, is it an animated image? No, it's just to make it larger. And every time we go to the national parks in southern Utah, I always want to go here, but I do realize that these animals, if you're going to end up in a place that needs to be adopted, this is the place to go. And I simply can't take home any more pets. So not so much with the animation. I could do best friends and then like look up animation, advertisements, or just maybe animation just to do something simple. Yeah, there's not going to be much here. These are the best ads from 2015. Not sure why these aren't loading. Okay. And a lot of these ads are like actual TV ads or, video and not so much animation. This one looks like it has a little bit of animation maybe in it. This is obviously a video. If I were to go to, let's see, something local, I'm probably not going to see anything. If I go to like Chicago Humane Society, I might get something that's a little bit more. Looks like there's a couple of them. So this is the treehouse for cats. They're not caged. So depending on how elaborate you were in your animation, and how much time you had, you could maybe have like a cat tree that cats are climbing up on, or maybe just as simple as, I don't want to say a cat swinging backwards on one because I've never seen that before, but there might be some young cats that can do that. Hey, this one walks on a leash. If I put a leash on my cat, she'll just lay there and I'll drag her like this pretty much. This could be a fun one. You could basically, I don't want to say have this food here, maybe like catnip, and have the cat's paw kind of grab out and take it. That could be a cool one. I think the hard thing would be finding either the cat photo or redrawing the cat like this and getting that right, and then moving its eye. That could be a fun one. A little complex though. I was trying to see what sort of events they happen to have. I thought here they were saying adopt 3 cats. Good Lord, that would be insane. But you could kind of look at, even though you don't live in Chicago, or if you do, or wherever you live, big cities, and just see what they have. Here's like a 5K fun run. That could be something, stray cat strut. You could have a lot of fun with this advertising component. What I could do is basically, have a drawing that I do of Chicago in the background, the sidewalk, and with a cat that's sort of, strutting its stuff across this page. You could do that. Let me go back and just show a couple of other ideas. Pause is a big one in Chicago. And I was hoping for, here's their ads. Not so helpful in terms of something to do, but here's another, 5K walk. So not so exciting on their main one. It's a lot of kitties. If I were to, dentists are also notorious for animation sometimes and specials. I would say look more toward the fancy ones that do like all the latest and greatest technology trends, the face, not the face stuff, but the Invisalign type stuff, or George Clooney, the fake teeth. I can't think of the proper words right now. Teeth whitening is always a big one, like advertising for teeth whitening. Like you could have, but the problem is no one wants to see your mouth on an advertisement because it's going to say you could have something as simple as a person who is smiling or in a dentist chair or something like that, and then like the before and after. So like before they have like, I don't say yellow crazy looking teeth, but something like that, and then it switches to this, George Clooney beautiful white pearly smile. There's not much to it though, so you'd have to play with that a little bit. You could also show people like a demonstration. This is obviously way too long to kind of show the process of tooth whitening. And these are just pictures of the area, so not really helpful. He's trying to show that, he cares about the community type guy. That's where he's getting at. Instead of like actual discounts or specials that they are offering. I think though that this guy does laser dentistry. That's what I wanted to look at. And again, see, this is the problem is no one really wants to look at this. It's just sort of like, where do I sign up? So I was hoping, because I think this guy actually does the latest and greatest filling wise with a laser instead of the, good old school drill. I have another dentist, but I haven't had a cavity yet because, yeah, I'd probably consider going to him from a wuss, even though fillings are fillings. But I was going to say, if they had a laser here that kind of, you can obviously go online to YouTube and find a video that might help you better understand the process, and you could consider that. But again, the problem with advertising for dentists, because I used to do that, I used to work for a major ad company, is people don't really want to go to a dentist. No one goes, oh boy, 6 months, time to go again. You do, but you don't want to go. Unless you're one of those rare people. Usually it's when something happens and something falls out or your mouth hurts, and then you're just like, for the love of God, just make it better. So other than teeth whitening, dentists are really hard to pull off. No one really wants to see them. Yeah, for this assignment, what we'll do is any of the characters that we use, we're going to draw them in Illustrator or in Animate. I've always used Illustrator, but there is a way to basically lower the opacity in Animate on the storyboard, and then what we can do is on another layer, use shapes to recreate the animal or object. Travel or an outdoor activity company. So for that one, because I live near the Grand Canyon, there's tons of them. You know, I would advise against anything snarky, such as driving the vehicle over the Grand Canyon, since people, for the love of God, can't seem to stay on the road and like to fall off of it. So, plus it would probably be kind of hard to actually do this, which is the Grand Canyon, for the background. But it could be something. It could be where you have the Grand Canyon. That's going to be hard to draw, but it's just made a lot of colors to show the different rock formations. And then you could be on the ridge, like up here, that could be just a road. And maybe there's a Jeep, because that's what they usually are, the touring companies that go by. Maybe that's what I'll do. Because if I just do, I still can't spell. And let's go to images. I'll be brave. Well, that's an ATV. I was hoping for, I might need to do like touring group. It's still people, but they have a Jeep. And I could figure that out. For example, the one in Sedona is called like the Peak Jeep. And I know that they go to the Grand Canyon. So I could create like this little pink Jeep that goes, you know, the wheels move and they just go, you know, like over the road. And then I could talk about maybe there being a discount or something. So maybe that's what I'll do. What you'll want to do is don't worry so much about having the true characters this week. It's just going to be about drawing. And what I would recommend doing for week 2 is finding vector-based elements to kind of draw over and trace. So like vector dog, vector cat, those are going to help you ideally be able to draw it a lot easier and probably give you a lot more ideas on what to do. They're usually simplified a lot more. But for week 1, with the storyboard, it's going to be just a basic drawing. And you can either hand draw it or you can draw it using Illustrator if you want. Using Illustrator will definitely take more time, but it'll be a lot more detailed as well. You won't want to use image trace because then you can't edit anything with it really easy when we take it into Animate. Because ideally you're going to have full control of the animal and all its parts. And when we watch, well, when you watch the assessment for this week, it'll kind of help you see how to animate a character and all the moving parts. So you might decide that before you do the storyboard, yeah, you can still do the storyboard. You're safe on the week 1's assignment because we're not doing anything with actual characters this week. We're just sketching out the concept, the idea that we want to do. Nurseries are another one. You know, the list is never ending. Like if you live in a big city and they happen to have concerts and stuff, you might, you know, want to do one like that. A bakery, coffee shop, or cafe could be really good as well. You know, you could have like some sort of rolls coming, you know, fresh out the oven, you know, on a tray to you with steam. That could be a possibility. Coffee, you could have someone pouring like a special type of coffee that's new. Looking at you'll see right here just off the gate, there are a couple of videos that kind of go over different animation. Looks like there's a Starbucks one that someone, you know, outside of Starbucks did. If I go to Starbucks, most of them are simply commercials now or advertisements and not so much little active banners. Banners are really, really hard, again, because of the use of the iPad. For the most part, all you're going to get, and apparently it seems to think I'm browsing from outside the United States. Okay. And it thinks I'm in Canada, apparently. We mainly stick nowadays with large images, like this one is known as a hero image. And obviously real images are in showing the product. I was hoping that would be some sort of animation, but they're just showing that, you know, their app. But, you know, maybe there's like a certain food that you like here. You could have fun with that animation. Panera is another place that, you know, has a lot of product that you might want to incorporate. You know, here's enjoy 30% off your order. Of course, that's, you know, online, but I'm sure you could incorporate, maybe there's a new drink and you could show that drink being made. It's starting to get warmer, depending on where you live. So maybe there's a new frap out and you kind of want to show people how it's made. That could be a possibility. It's a lot of calories. I was hoping they would show it. There's an infographic that I like that shows all the different coffee. This one or this one kind of shows what goes in it. This one I think is better text-wise. You could consider something like that. So you could have your Frappuccino and it could just be this lid or this the cup, and then what you can do is basically have like a scoop or a hand or a container that's showing how much chocolate's being poured in, how much milk, how much ice, and you know, all that other stuff that's in there. So you're almost like kind of showing someone how to make it, and then you know get 20% off. You might want that advertisement component called action to always be active, but you might not. So hopefully that's helped a little with brainstorming ideas of possibly what to do. You know, if you haven't had like outdoor stores, you could also consider that. You know, skiing, you could have, you know, maybe a hill that changes to snow. I know we're getting out of snow season now, but you could do that. Clothing stores could be another one, possibly. Up to you. A little bit harder. Because, you know, animating makeup's going to be a bit hard. But what you could maybe do is if there were like 3 bags like this, you could have maybe one like fall on the other. And then you could have like all these pieces like appear, or you can make an animation that kind of shows what each of the product is that you're going to get. When you spend $35, that could be an option. Granted, they're not being, I guess they are kind of being super helpful because they're showing you each one as a standalone piece, I think. Maybe not. No, they're not. But I know that other ones do. Oh, apparently this is all makeup. Okay, let's go back to the main store. I thought that was the banner. Prom would be hard to do, just animating people, because we really don't want to use just graphics. And apparently it's summertime now. And shoes. And let's see. I think the makeup one could be done. Don't know so much about all these other ones. You know, Petco, PetSmart sometimes also has good animation on their sites. Or at least events that might inspire you. Not so much this time. That's it? Okay. You could, a good one could be fish in a fish tank, because you can have just a basic background and you can have a couple of fish that move around. That's a good one. So I'm not going to do it. So if someone wants to grab that one, feel free to. And that could extend to like a turtle or a snake as well. Those are all good options. You know, basic animals that, you know, don't really have legs. Turtles do, but how often do you see a turtle walking around? You know, you could move their neck and blink their eyes. That'd be fun. And then the advertisement or the call to action could just be a really good discount on those animals. Let's see. Small animals, you know, like a more complex one could be a hamster or a gerbil moving around in their little wheel. That could be an option. Birds are always hard because of their wings. Looking at PetSmart. These are static, but you know, like some of these advertisements might help. Like you could have someone check, it's rather complex for 4 weeks. I was gonna say check out with like a bag or show a bag and then buy a meal, but that's a hard message to convey in a brief animation. So you could have, this is a good one because tick season is going and fleas are going to be coming up soon, depending on where you live. You could have a dog, that's a vector-based dog that you drew, and maybe it doesn't do much. Maybe the focus isn't so much on the dog. Like maybe the dog's eyes blink just so that it's not completely lifeless. And what you're focusing on is basically by applying this tick and flea repellent that, maybe it's a collar that the dog has on, that the fleas and ticks are jumping off of the dog or staying away. It's more dramatic if they per se, like you have a couple that jump off, but anyone that's seen a tick, you don't want those things jumping anywhere. But that could be a really good advertisement that, is doable within 4 weeks.
Could you do a dog scratching itself?
You could, but that would be rather complex, but you don't have to make it where, every part of the dog is shaking.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was just simply like maybe the leg that was, scratching his chest or something, or his like chin or something like that, you could add like maybe some fur movement in that area possibly. Advertisements like this where it's just 20% off and free shipping, I mean, that's great, but it's also your first auto ship order. People are more, drawn to seeing an animal itself. So this one would be kind of hard to make exciting per se. Behavior training classes could be something. It might be hard to do in 4 weeks. People aren't really drawn to animation or animals that like show like, like bark control. Whether it's something like this where maybe the dog, can't act up because it's basically being, shocked. It's not truly shocked, but, it's not a pleasant experience. You're conditioning them not to do things. I don't see that going over well with people in general, or, like dog muzzle. And it'd be kind of hard, because it'd be a long-winded animation, and that's too much for just 4 weeks. But like, showing a dog just sort of, jumping all over a couch, and then, having like, by attending X amount of courses, the dog's well mannered and, collects your newspaper and makes dinner for you every night. You could also do grocery stores. That's a possibility, or any other sort of local store that you go to. You might want to get like a local newspaper, possibly if you're, struggling with ideas, just to see what is out there, something that might inspire you. Yes, I'm going to be a horrible human being and go to Whole Foods. You could possibly have, I don't want to say show a recipe being made, because that's going to be really time consuming, but you could maybe show something growing, perhaps, like, like maybe a hand that puts seeds in the ground. It could be a seed like discount, and then seeing it kind of just grow over time. That's a possibility. You know, maybe it's Whole Foods and they're selling a special salad and you want to show the salad being made, you could do that. Learn. Let's see if there's anything under here. Yeah. Learn about organics. You could have like maybe a chicken that's laying eggs, or maybe it's walking and it's kind of, I don't say pooping out the eggs, but they're pooping out the hoity-toity, you know, the green ones and the white ones and the brown ones. And you could maybe have like a listing of all these special eggs that, you know, this farm offers. That's a possibility. Car shops are another one. Those are, you know, a little tricky, but I think I'm going to do mine about that touring company. So I will build a basic car, and the only thing that's going to be animating is going to be the wheels. But maybe you want to have a little bit of fun with a vehicle, maybe doing something. That's a possibility. The sky is really the limit in terms of what you decide to do. What I would recommend doing if you watch this lecture today, as in Monday, is by Tuesday, have an idea in mind, or at least hopefully by the end of Tuesday, have an idea in mind. Because what we're going to do is work tomorrow on the storyboard. And you'll see that there's a whole bunch of points right here I haven't covered, and I'll spend just a moment or two on them. You know, what is the message? What message are you trying to sell? Who is the target audience? What are we motivating them to do? For me, the message is, it's getting nice out again. Granted, it's Arizona. I've lived in like Montana and Chicago and New York and Oregon, and wow, just Arizona 90-something% of the year is just gorgeous. So a little hard, but you know, maybe people are tired in Minnesota of the winter and they want to come down to Arizona. I want them to go see the Grand Canyon. It's a national, you know, park and one of the 7 wonders. So it's sort of one of those, you know, we'll check it off type things. So the message is, come to the Grand Canyon, you know, see the Grand Canyon, but don't just see it, because you do just sort of walk around on the rim of it, on the top of it. And unless you feel adventurous to go down it, and it's sort of like you have to come prepared, you're not going to do much. And it's sort of up to you to kind of figure out, you know, the background and, you know, do all the research beforehand. So what you could do instead is take a trip and have this touring company spend like 8 hours or something with you, giving you all the ins and outs, showing you some cool, you know, features and components. So that's the motivation. You're going to get a really well, you know, adventure or a day trip that you're really going to cherish and all that good stuff and learn a lot about. You're going to be educated a little bit more. You're going to see things that you otherwise would not have seen. And who's the target audience? These tours are freaking expensive. And by expensive, I mean expensive. And let's just go. Here we go. And I know we're past time. I will hurry up. Sorry. So you'll see there's a couple of them. Like this one, I think maybe does a sunset and shows a couple of the other areas. Oh, it's the grand one. That's the fancy one. So it's $135 per parent or per adult, and $122 for kids. Ages 1.5 to 15 years. Yeah, because you're going to pay $122 for your 1.5-year-old to go do this. I don't think so. So we can kind of figure out right then and there that this is really kind of catered toward, I don't say people who are retired, but I'd probably say 40 plus, 50 plus who have money to burn. And wow, it's only 3 hours. That's sort of depressing. But this is what you get to do. And this is the tour, the trail tour. That's still 3 hours. Interesting. So you can see this one's a little bit cheaper, but not by much. And looks like you're going to be walking more. And the grand entrance just sort of gets you there, and it's only 2 hours. But you get to learn about some of the history, and you just sort of get to go, yeah, okay, I saw this. We're good. So it's going to be at least $100 per person plus tip. And I can say that that's probably going to target, you know, a certain group. It's not really going to be college kids, because college kids will just, you know, pile up in their Honda Civic, you know, 8 people when it seats 5 or 6, and will just kind of do their thing, which is fine. But it's really important to kind of figure out who I'm targeting, because obviously that's going to impact how I create this advertisement. So it needs to be more refined, more professional, because I'm obviously going to be dealing with an older age group. You might wonder if they're even going to be on the internet. Hopefully, you know, hopefully it's going to be that they find this site and they go, oh yeah, this looks like a great opportunity. So that's where I will stop today. Try to get to the bullet points right here, what the message is, who is targeting, what are you trying to motivate. And then what we will do starting tomorrow after we do the daily checkpoint is we will jump right on into working on our storyboard. Anyone have any questions before we end for today?
Could we do something other than an animal?
Could you repeat that?
Could we do something other than an animal?
I heard, sorry, let me try my.
I'm sorry. It's probably me. I was just saying, can we do something other than an animal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Any of these are fine, or something else. As long as it's, you know, ideally a real company, that's all that matters.
So like if you wanted to do a car.
Yep, because that's what I'm going to do.
Now, I guess you'll answer this more tomorrow. Like if you do a car, you have to deal with like a moving scene, right?
Hey, you don't have to. Like, I think my Grand Canyon is just going to be a backdrop, and the animation is simply going to be my tires that are moving across the scene.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking when I started looking into this yesterday. I guess it's more of sitting down and putting it together.
Yep, that sounds perfectly fine. And, you know, I'll review the storyboard, and if I have any questions or concerns, you know, I'll reach out. And if, Sean, you want any, you know, feedback based off your idea, happy to give it as well.
Okay. I mean, with my work schedule getting off at 6, it's like I'm going to miss most of the classes anyway, but I'll come in as much as I can. And of course, if there's any outside help I need, I will reach out.
Sounds great. And yep, Princess, feel free to send me any work that you're doing, and I'm happy to provide feedback. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Welcome to the class, and I hope you enjoy learning about Adobe Animate. Yep. Are you ready for a screen share right now, Princess? Okay, let me stop sharing. Feel free to grab control. So what were you thinking in terms of the animation for the puppy? Yep, that's perfect. Do you see maybe like the eyes moving toward anything, or it will just be sort of blinking and the heart growing? Yep, that'd be fine as well. And if you want to make the tail, you know, wiggle, waggle, you could do that as well.
Yeah, I was thinking that, you know, like have it swish from underneath the foot back and forth. This is just like my outline.
Yep, yep, yep. I wouldn't do that to you.
Just a little prototype. I was thinking of having the eyes, you know, like look left, maybe right, blink, and then wink. With the heart, you know, that comes out from the center right here in the oval and just starts growing till it covers his face and then shrinks back down.
Yep, that sounds
The
perfect.
words right here. All it takes is love and a good home.
Will there be any sort of like discount or some sort of
I was
incentive?
thinking half price day at the SPCA.
Perfect.
You know, because sometimes pets are expensive there, and this was just a little sketch I did. You know, as my little design.
Yep.
Isn't he cute? My mom
He
likes
is.
him. I did a little tiny nose right there and just have a little mouth.
Yep, that's perfect. I mean, it's enough to identify what it is and then just add a few animation components and then try to figure out what you want to do for the background. Obviously, you don't want to make it too busy. Maybe it's just a field.
Yeah, it's just
or
going to be
something
like grass back here
Yep.
with a little sky and maybe a cloud that goes by.
Yep, that'd be fine.
And then I was thinking of having the word adopt today flash on top here, you know, above his head.
Yep, that sounds good.
And now I want to show you my fly. Isn't he creepy?
I don't see him yet.
Oh, let me fix that. Just 1 second. I need a reshare. Let's just do desktop. There he is. He's a little creepy, isn't he?
It should be. It's trying to load, I think. There we go. That's awesome.
I just did him with oovals. And I made him a little shadow
Yep,
right
that's
there.
fine.
And I have the weird little smiley face eyeballs. I was kind of thinking about having him go ooh ah, you know, kind of thing while he's flying across the screen or something.
Yep, you're definitely on the right track.
You think you could help me animate him?
We can try, because is it the blue wing and then is it the lime green one behind it, or is it just the blue?
It's just the blue right now because I wasn't sure, you know, if I should do another wing yet or not.
Well, we could actually have two of the ovals like under each other, because I think that's how the flies work. It might not be.
I was thinking kind of a different color so that way it doesn't merge though.
Yep,
you
that
know,
would be
because
fine.
they kind of like the merge. Come here, not so close to the head. I suck at this.
Yeah, and you can just send that one to the back and make sure the head is at the top.
Let's see. How do I do that?
Oh, yeah, okay. You're not an illustrator. That'll be fun. What you can do is under edit, and we might actually have to do is go into the layers themselves. So if we went under window, and
I know I'm weird. I just decided to just try and sketch him out in animation, you know, just have the body type.
yep. And if we go under, I should be able to see everything. That's interesting. I'm not, because how it works with Animate is basically everything's on layer 1 right now in your timeline down below.
Oh, let's see.
The bottom left, below the storyboard area or the artboard area.
Below the artboard area?
It like says 1 through 85. So just a little bit more to the left.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
And what you'll normally do is you'll build everything kind of on its own layer, or you'll create a folder and then you'll put all these elements within it. Don't worry about it right now. So that's one of the.
I don't just like my basic, you know, structure.
Yeah, this is fine.
I named it Fly. My husband's like, why don't you do an angel? I'm like, I am not good at sketching on the computer yet. Unless I have a pencil and paper, I'm not good yet.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot more detail. This is going to work out good.
So I thought a little fly because I could make him kind of cartoony.
Exactly.
You know, and kind of be a little goofy with him, kind of give him a little O mouth, like, woo! Sorry.
That's awesome.
So you think tomorrow you could help me make him fly?
Yep. It might be Wednesday we get that far. But definitely watch the tutorial that comes with the assessment if you jump ahead, because it'll really help you out.
Okay. And as for my little puppy, can I just copy him and put him on the story artboard?
If you want, that's fine. Yes. I'm perfectly fine with that.
You know, and just on scene 1, just have him. Then on scene 2, have the cloud going by. Scene 3, he looks left. Scene 4, he looks left, you know?
Yep. That is fine.
And then the heart grows and shrinks and, you know, so forth and so on.
Yep.
And maybe add a little kitty that, you know, just pops its head up a little bit and winks and then pops back down.
Only if you want to go that far.
I don't know. I'm just playing around with the ideals, you know?
Yep. Don't feel bad about keeping things simple because you've got a lot going on as it is.
And I have my paragraph typed up. I wanted to show you, see what you think. I know I kind of went ahead and did a few things, but I just want to make sure they look okay.
Yep, that looks great.
Okay, because I really want to do good in this class and I love animation.
Well, you're definitely on the right track and you'll have this done probably by the time we're, you know, at Wednesday at the rate you're going.
Well, I hope so. It all depends on the baby if she lets me have free time. Because I have to mostly work when she's sleeping, you know?
Exactly. I hope she sleeps a lot.
Not really. She's got an ear infection.
Oh, dear.
Both ears. So tomorrow I got to take her to the doctor, you know, at 1:30. So
that'll be fun.
Not really for me or her. She does not like the doctor's office.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
She hid underneath the chair in the doctor's office yesterday. Not yesterday, Wednesday, last Wednesday.
They can't see me. They can't see me. My cat does that.
Yeah, and the doctor said, "Are you hiding?" And she goes, "I hide." I'm like, "Whoa, she said a 2-word sentence. I'm happy."
Yep.
Because I looked at the doctor, I'm like, did she just say a 2-word sentence? He's like, yep, I think she did. Because we both think we heard the same thing.
That's awesome.
You know, because I don't quite trust my own hearing unless someone else says, did she just say that? I'm like, I thought it was just my imagination. You know, it's one of those things.
Yep, understood. Any other questions, Princess?
That's it for now. Thank you so much.
You're absolutely wonderful. Keep up the great work. And if you happen to have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Oh, should I just use that Netflix thing that makes fun of it?
I'm fine with that. Just, disclose, hey, I know this wasn't, from Netflix, but here's an example of, an effective advertisement that's being snarky. It's showing the flaws and it's slowly processing it.
I just want to make sure because I don't want to get in trouble.
You won't get in trouble.
I am very much a good girl. I like to make sure of things before I do them.
Yep, understood.
And I gotta go hug a baby and tickle her a little. She's being cute.
Because she's got a clean diaper for now.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And she's running to her room with an orange.
What could go wrong there?
Her dolly.
So, I guess while I'm sitting here trying to craft an idea, when it comes to making the actual image themselves, I'm just going to go and make it in Illustrator.
Yep, that's perfectly fine.
Does it necessarily have to be, I guess, in order to make what I'm making, it's going to take a few layers. Is that fine for something like the anime programs?
It does. It can import that.
Okay. And then when I make this, do I have to basically, like if I want to make the tires a certain layer, I would have to make the tires a layer, then things like that?
Yep.
Okay. So then I am basically doing this about right.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't have any as of yet.
Okay. Well, I wish everyone then a wonderful evening, and we will touch base tomorrow.
Works
Take
for
care,
me.
everyone. Have a great night.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.